So because you crazy folks out there gave me like, what, 1,000 subscribers just from that one video alone, I guess I gotta make more Dynasties. Yes, I'm ripping off Rada. Yes, the music is from Rogue Galaxy, specifically Swingin', and thank you for the kind words. So, some people were a little miffed that I judged the Alchemy Beast too harshly because a lot of the cards that I brought up in my discussion were later on in the series and the game as a whole, therefore they should be exempt from any and all comparison. I just want to bring up that if I did that, Link summoning just isn't a thing at all that I talk about. So we'll speak of these cards at their power level at the time and in the current day, just to cover our bases. Now that that's out of the way, they still suck! Today we will be focusing on the ever-popular deck of Reed Pepper from Arc 5, Cookpals. Ah, Arc 5. The only series that could possibly have made this an actual dual synopsis on the Wikia. Reed's expertise within the kitchen allowed him to have a distinct advantage over Yuya within the Chaos Kitchen. This, compounded by the fact Yuya had skipped breakfast, left a tall obstacle for our protagonist to overcome. But fret not, as who would come to save our brave hero but none other than his own dear mother, with an improved version of one of Reed's recipes. Insulted by this act, Reed swears to vanquish Yuya, but due to his newfound energy, Yuya is capable of grabbing an action card and ultimately winning the duel. In the general theme of complete insanity, we have sentient food royalty, made to look cute and use effects that return to the hand to stun the opponent by getting rid of their monsters. And then we have Cookpals! Considering my favorite archetype of all time is Madolche, being shown by my first ever profile picture being a hand-drawn pudding cyst, ripping them off is not a quick way into my heart. But hey, Raid Raptors are just rip-offs of Blackwing, so who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be fun, and you know what the name of the show is. Let's stop beating around the bush. As for our monsters, first up we have Cookpal Cluckwheat, a level 2 Earth Fairy that can be special summoned in attack position when it's bounced back to the hand. While it may be a cuter Mist Valley Thunderbird, it certainly isn't better, as it's significantly weaker in both stat line and use as a fairy for whatever reason. Take my word for it now, this deck is not good at spamming out monsters unless you perform a moon dance in an open field in June, praising RNGesus with all your might. So Icarus Attack would not only make sense with the card's art and physical playstyle along Mist Valley, but be a much-needed, quote, stall for time or comeback card in the deck. Oh, and in case this wasn't inferred already, there are no actual ways the deck can bounce this thing back. It might as well be a super light Viking at this rate, because there aren't even combos to be done with it. Reed only did something because he pulled an action card that bounces and summons another monster from hand, so the writers just took their early lunch break that day, I guess. Next up, we have Cookpal Eggnog. God damn it. Next, we have Cookpal Eggong, a level 1 Earth Fairy that can special summon another copy of itself from the hand or graveyard when it's destroyed. So the only other card I can think of to compare this to is Marsh Macron, and honestly it's a fair note to say there's no objectively better card for every circumstance. While Marsh Macron can pull from the deck as well as the hand or graveyard, it's only a once per turn effect. So 4 attacks are just a poke and a boom, and your opponent got through your defenses. While Eggong is more restricted from where it can summon, it can revive itself infinitely from the graveyard, and has the name that helps, I think, like 3 cards in this archetype. Either way, it's not a bad stalling tool for the deck, especially since Cookpals certainly need a way to make use of their main trap card. More on that later. Cookpal Lie Onion, yes, I had to write it down in the script with a hyphen so I know how to pronounce this and not is an Earth Fairy like all the rest, but this one's level 5. In addition, it has negative protection, as your opponent can only attack Lie Onion, the 200 attack monster, with defense less than Gemini Elf, as a tribute card.
This is a great example of what garbage is. If you're gonna serve us crap like that, then you're really wasting our time. And you guys...
Cookpal Puma Potato is a level 3 monster with a spam effect a la Fuel Cell or Fall Troll, but it's small. While there are quite a few tribute monsters in this deck, no, not that one, there's a much easier way to summon them. No, not Pendulums, that mechanic that jump-started new decks, supported old ones, and was the entire point of the series these premiered in. No siree. We'll get to that after addressing literally every tribute monster, because they have the same effect. They all have levels between 6 and 10, and defense stats that honestly, they just don't matter. Royal Cookpals King Burger, Knight Pasta, Prince Curry, Queen Omelette, and Princess Pudding, you fucking plagiarists, have the following effect. If a monster is normal or special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, you can target one of those monsters, return this card to the hand, and if you do, destroy that target. Once per turn, you can target one Royal Cookpal monster you control. Double its original attack until the end of this turn. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect. Okay, so you're expected to spam out increasingly larger and larger monsters, never to be facilitated by in-archetype pendulum support, and you think we're gonna have the time to tribute summon these things that get drop-kicked by a fucking mushroom man? Valhalla can only do so much, my dude. Hecature still isn't good. I guess it ain't over until it's over. Let's move on to basically the only saving grace. Or should I say, Seishing gravy. Food puns! Saving grace to the archetype. Oh wait, there's Rabbit's Mail. With the effect of once per turn, you can target... But JCD, don't you know the people always go monster spells, then traps? Yes, my astute viewer, but like how Alchemy Beasts needed the kettle, the place they were born and the main playmaker of the deck, to be explained first, Cookpals have Food Cemetery, their main playmaker that appears to birth all the Cookpals, ironically. Why is every archetype I cover the same thing? Anyway, Food Cemetery is a continuous trap that basically equips every Cookpal destroyed this turn as an Xyz material. Allows you to search an equal number of them, and will destroy everything on the field when you have more monsters than trap Xyz materials. I see the Battle Beast wasn't alone. Anyway, let's talk about this card as a playmaker. How many Cookpals can you kill in a turn? Draw 3 Eggong and hope your opponent attacks and kills all of them? Crash them into your opponent's monsters and take massive damage? Best case scenario, but not the worst thing to imagine. Unless you don't like dead hands of 3 things that do absolutely nothing. You can always play Grass Infernoids Cookpals? The worst part about it all is that you might get everything blown right up by your opponent giving you a Grinder Golem, or you're restricted in your main way of play just through the fact that you'll have 3 on the field at best, which leads to the big jaw-dropping board of a 1200 attack wimpy boy. You kinda have to run 3, and that's the worst part, because this card only has support in the way of Canning Cuisine, a normal trap card that allows you to add Cookpals underneath the Food Cemetery you control equal to the number of cards your opponent draws, except during the draw phase. Great support for a subpar card, but it may just be what you need for a few other cards we're about to look into. Monster Pie summons a token for your opponent when one of their monsters leaves the field, and it burns the opponent for 1000 when it leaves. Remember when I said that if I didn't bring up Link summoning, I would be not doing my job at reviewing an archetype that kind of needs New Age support? Well, Links are a thing. Ojama Trio got off the list and could honestly come back to 20 per deck and it still wouldn't be used. So why use a more circumstantial, objectively worse version? Maybe now the aforementioned 1200 attack Beefy Boy will be threatening. Ooh, 200 damage followed by another 1000, someone called Trickstars. Metabolic Storm is a normal trap card that states if a monster is popped by the Cookpal effect, it burns the opponent for the attack. So it basically turns them into Volcasaurus. This should be on all the Cookpal monsters, or this should be continuous because the deck has to spend so many resources to get any of the big ones out that I might as well just say that every monster is a self-bouncing Volcasaurus. While we're at it, give them Pendulums. Food Frog is a spell card that searches 2 Royal Cookpals, but they cannot be normal summoned or special summoned that turn. But they can be set! This is a very important idea, I promise you. Set the level 8 tribute monsters. It's a +1 searcher with a stipulation that makes it only great and not amazing. So using this in Food Frog can hopefully remove so many Cookpals from your deck that you forget you're playing them at all. In all honesty though, this card certainly is a 3-up in any build of Cookpals through boosting consistency and general card advantage. Minute Meal is a spell card that allows you to summon Cookpal monsters from your hand with levels less than or equal to the levels of monsters your opponent controls. Considering link ratings are a thing, as well as Xyz ranks, and all your beefy boys are, well, high level and not at all beefy, despite the name. They're more sweet, now that you mention it. Run 1 and see how it works. Regal Recipes is a spell that allows you to summon all of the Cookpals from your hand up to the number of Cookpals underneath the Food Cemetery you control. Oh, but that's not all. You also get to burn your opponent for 300 for each special summon monster, to keep in the practice of, burn, I guess. And that's basically it for the archetype. I know it was a long-awaited sequel to my most popular video, but I really wanted to just pump out some Cookpal stuff because, oh my god, these things are beyond terrible. Here's a sample deck list that focuses more on Cookpals in and of themselves. Here's another deck list that allows you to use That Grass Looks Greener to basically mill all your Cookpals and try to make a big boy Food Cemetery, and maybe you shoot out some other Cookpals. Not exactly certain how you'd be able to do that very consistently, but hey, it's the best we could really do. And essentially, that's about it for Cookpals. I'm going to be making a video actually showing off some duels with them if you guys want, if you guys really want this. And in either case, I would love to be taking requests for any other anime archetypes that you guys think are so bad they could be on this. Thank you guys for watching. If you wouldn't mind smashing that like button and also subscribing for more Dynasty of the Useless content, as it's something that I like doing and I haven't done in a while, so might as well get back to that, I think.